Welcome to the Special Forces in World War II YouTube channel created by the Special Forces in World War II team.
I'm Colonel R.G. Cole, Lieutenant Colonel R.G. Cole, 3rd Battalion, 502nd Parachute Infantry, 101st Airborne Division. We were ordered on June 10th to come up this road, take Carentan, and proceed some mile and a half beyond Carentan to a point called Bayonet as the battalion objective. Initially, the attack was ordered for 3 o'clock in the morning. However, on reaching this bridge here, the engineers had not been able to put a footbridge across for the battalion due to heavy shell fire on the bridge. Again, in the morning of the 10th, the regimental commander, Colonel Mike Halis, told me that the division commander desired me to go ahead with my attack that day. On reconnaissance about noon of the 10th, we came down to the bridge, Captain Clements of Company G and myself and several men, look around the area in the daylight. We found that the bridge was not under very heavy shell fire, and that by being cautious and keeping well dispersed, we could perhaps stretch a rope across the bridge where it was blown out, and by using some of this tin fencing there, put a passable footwalk across. This we did, and we finished it up about 3 o'clock. About 3:30, the initial elements of the battalion, a leading platoon of G Company, commanded by Lieutenant Irwin, started across, one man at a time, in about 1 minute intervals. We had no trouble with enemy fire initially. However, as soon as the men got along the banks here in any numbers, and if they did not stay down, the enemy fired quite heavily on the roadway and on the bridge. Also, at times when the men tried to get across the bridge, and with their machine guns and their ammunition, and 2 or 3 of them would get bunched up there, the enemy would open fire and shooting 88 that would come right across and land in the water. Whitten, tell us about the time when you went across now. Now, Whitten.
Just a minute. All right, try it again.
Now, Whitten, suppose you tell about your part in this breakers here when you left camp or left your bivouac area down through the bridges here.
Yes, sir. My company received orders to move at 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. We arrived at the first bridge without any trouble and started crossing it single file. With one man would go across it, he'd get on the other side, another would follow him, about 10 yards apart. We crossed the first bridge and got to the second one, which was under rifle fire, sniping fire, and 88 fire. The company commander had the 3rd platoon cross the bridge, and they took up position on the other side. And I was sent across to find out what the situation was. And to cross that bridge, you had to cross on a rope. Just a piece of fence had been made, strung across 2 ropes, and made a wobbly bridge. But we managed to cross that bridge, take up position in a ditch on the other side of this bridge. All the time, the snipers were firing at us.
Lieutenant Colonel R.G. Cole, 3rd Battalion, 502nd Parachute Infantry, 101st Airborne Division. My battalion was ordered to attack these bridges along here, go south of Carentan to a point called Bayonet. This was initially ordered for 3 o'clock in the morning, February 10th of June 10th, 1944. However, the engineers who were supposed to rebuild this bridge here or put a footbridge across it for the battalion were unable to do so at that time due to the fire, heavy fire on the bridge. Later on in the morning, after that initial attack was called off, the regimental commander ordered me to proceed with an attack during daylight. On reconnaissance that afternoon with Captain Clements of Company G, my battalion, we found, or we thought we could build a footbridge across there satisfactory for use by the battalion and make it out of some rope and some fencing that was laying around. That we did, and by 3 o'clock we had the bridge ready for use. At approximately 3:30, the leading element of the battalion, the platoon from Company G, commanded by Lieutenant Irwin, crossed the bridge and proceeded south along the road here. Sergeant Whitten, suppose you tell about the time from the bivouac area down to this bridge. All right, the battalion stayed in position along the causeway there the remainder of the afternoon of June the 10th, and were unable to do anything. What it amounted to was a column of files along each side of the road. They were under heavy fire from these emplacements over in this area. We stayed there during the night, and about 1 o'clock, the Nazis bombed us with 2 planes, which fortunately were soon gotten by our own Air Force. During the morning, early morning hours, about 4 o'clock, we were able to infiltrate men across the bridge there one at a time at about 1-minute intervals, and we got them, the majority of the battalion, pretty well scattered up along the road here and on the field on the other side of the road. And at 5 o'clock, we started out on our original objective. At 5:15, however, just as we'd gotten well dispersed and started moving in good fashion, fire was opened up on us from these positions back in here, and we immediately had to seek cover wherever we were. We stayed in this position until 6:15. Fortunately, I had the artillery liaison officer from the 377th right by my side, and he was able to set his radio up and contact the artillery, and we had artillery fire continuously all over this area here and back along there and up the road towards Carentan. This went on for about 45 minutes. And then I called for smoke to be laid all over the area, especially down in this area here. And when it was thick enough, I issued the order for a bayonet charge. These orders I passed, had to be issued verbally because most of the radios were not. Okay. All right. Oh.
On the left, Lieutenant Colonel Robert G. Cole of San Antonio, Texas, with Major John P. Stopka of Sheridan, Wyoming, both of the 502nd Parachute Infantry. Major Stopka seems to have a souvenir. Would you tell us what it is, Major?
Oh, yeah, just a piece of Nazi goods I picked up in a captured camp, garrison.
The symbol of Nazism. Here are Lieutenant Colonel Robert G. Cole of San Antonio, Texas, with Major John P. Stopka of Sheridan, Wyoming, both of the 502nd Parachute Infantry. The Major seems to have a souvenir of some sort. Will you tell us what that is, Major?
Yes, a flag captured in the garrison.
Did you have to capture the garrison to get the flag, or did it just come along with it?
Oh, it came along with the garrison we captured. Why?
Was this a very large garrison, Major? Was this a very large garrison, Major?
Yes, it housed about a company of German static troops.
One company had to be about 200 men, would it not?
That's right.
How many men did you have in your group, sir?
We had about 14 to start with. By the end of the day, we had about 70 of our own troops.
And how many prisoners were taken in this garrison?
Well, initially, we took about 34 prisoners and ended up, by the end of the day, about 72.
Did you get back with all of them?
We turned them over to the unit that relieved us.
I see, sir.
What made the job so difficult, I believe, is the fact that that hedgerow over there was just filled with snipers and filled with 3 and 4 men and 3 and 4 men emplacements. And our artillery was not heavy enough to knock them out unless you had a direct hit on it. In other words, they could get under cover when the artillery shells burst above them, and it wouldn't hurt them. Also, this orchard behind the house was just filled with the same type of emplacements. Very well concealed, very well covered, and offered excellent protection for the men in them. In individual cases, you have Germans using wood piles and building and climbing up in trees and using any natural thing that fits their use and without disturbing its naturalness at all, digging an emplacement in it or under it, and they're very, very hard to get out. You can't see them until you're up on them, or even sometimes you're past them. And then the first thing you know, somebody's shooting at you from the rear with a machine gun. Of course, coming across this field, we were exposed to these men over here in the hedgerows here all the time, and they had us perfectly covered. So it's simply a matter of getting across the open ground as quickly as possible and getting in amongst them where it evolved down into an individual.
Thank you for watching the Special Forces in World War II YouTube channel, an unwavering digital fortress committed to preserving the history of elite and specialized units in World War II. Our mission is clear: to provide a comprehensive view of the elite units and formations that played pivotal roles in the Second World War. This extensive dossier includes their frontline battles, innovative weaponry, strategic maneuvers, and the brave soldiers who faced the crucible of combat. The World War II SOF Virtual Museum is our dynamic field operation, continually uncovering layers of historical knowledge. We also maintain outposts on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to enhance our information dissemination. If you possess relevant intelligence to support our mission, don't hesitate to share it with us. Your contributions will be prominently featured in our operational archives. For those willing to provide substantial support, visit our Patreon forward base and enlist. Your backing is crucial to sustaining our mission. Together, let's carry forth this legacy.